recording as part of it.
Thank you. Good evening. I would like to call the August 11th, 2025 regular meeting of the Bethel Inland Wetlands Commission to order. Time is 7:05 p.m. And I'd like to start with introductions. Let's start with the screen first.
Kevin Seaman, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Nicholas Jordan, Commissioner. Thank you.
Danielle Monroe, Chairman.
Pat Carroll for alternate.
Terry Rotella.
Commissioner.
Commissioner.
Amanda Martinez, recording secretary.
Thank you.
Dave McCollum, Inland Wetlands Agent.
Thank you. So I don't need to see any, right? Is it,
Nick's not here, so you.
is he a full commission member?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. So Terry's the alternate.
No,
No.
she's full too.
She's
I'm
full.
full.
Oh, Jay is the alternate. Right.
That's correct.
Us too.
Okay. I'm gonna hold off on CDU and see if
Works for me.
I know, and see if our full complement shows up. If he doesn't, then you will be following up service.
Anticipation.
Participation indeed. I'm gonna quickly do the thing I always forget to do, which is read this message about electronic use. Please note for the record that any personal electronic devices used by commission members are for the purpose of viewing materials located in the Google Drive on the town's website. If anyone is going to be using your electronics for the meeting, I will be. Please just note that you should only be using them to access materials. But because some of our materials were late in coming tonight, I'd like to have them open in front of you to be able to. Okay. Moving along, Mr. McCollum, any changes to our agenda this evening?
We have two, Madam Chairman. Thank you for asking. The first of which is going to be an agent approval I approved for 4 Buckboard Ridge, excuse me. That's going to go under staff report. And the commission, there's a new application that's been submitted for your review, regulated activities at 15 Great Pasture Road. That's the address over in Danbury. And that will go under new business.
Thank you so much. So I would entertain a motion. Do we want this need to be separate or can we roll them together?
It's up to you, Madam Chair.
All right, I would entertain a motion to add 4 Buckboard Road to the staff comments section of our agenda tonight, to amend our agenda to include that there and to include 15 Great Pasture Road under new business.
Motion so made.
You can't make a motion.
Oh, I'm not that. Sorry.
Okay.
Motion moved. So moved.
Moved by Nico. Any discussion?
Second. Sorry, was it seconded?
Seconded by Terry. I'll take a vote.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Motion carries. All right. Any other items that you need to inform us about before we move on to old business, Mr. McCollum?
Not at this time, Madam Chair.
All right, then moving on to old business, we have 13 Redwood Drive.
Okay. Well, it should be obvious by now that the applicant is not joining us tonight. I have been advised that the applicant hasn't had the time they need to do some soil tests as requested by this commission's consulting engineer, Todd Ritchie with FLR. They're hoping to have that done between now and the commission's next regular meeting on September 22nd. You do have enough extension time, just enough, it should be noted, to get you there. So if there's a consensus for the commission to continue this, then we would do that at the commission's next meeting on the 22nd of September.
Okay, any thoughts?
No, I'm okay with it.
Yes, short answer. Long answer, Dave. Can you, in the meantime, since we have essentially this extension, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can you double check with the engineer, Mr. Mizuko, and see if he can provide an updated site plan that shows the move, how he was moving in the last meeting? He was moving on his computer design. He was shifting the splash pad or the outlet system, the outlets and stormwater management system. He had been tweaking it and he was rotating it up and out of a buffer area, a wooded buffer area designated to remain. And I wanted to make sure that that was the plan that was actually officially submitted.
Yes, it's to my understanding that that revision in the grand scheme of things is comparatively minor. He does intend to include that on his revised site plans, and that would be one of the things that staff would check when that new revised site plan is submitted.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I just wanted to get ahead of it. So we.
Yep.
Sure. Great, thanks.
Any other comments? Questions? Okay, so I believe we need a motion to push that to our next meeting. Yes, Mr. McCollum, you gotta keep me honest.
A consensus would do fine. If you want to do a motion, it's up to you.
Census is fine. It looks like everybody is in agreement that we can go ahead and carry that over to our next meeting.
Excellent.
Okay, so then that ends old business. Moving on to new business, we have 15 Great Pasture Road.
Yeah, if you want to do 15 Great Pasture Road first, or if you want to go to 4 Jennifer's Way, it's up to you.
Let's do Jennifer's Way since he's here. That's fine.
That's a good call.
So are you here to present?
Yeah, I don't really know what I gotta say, but, Mike Buren, I own 4 Jennifer's Way. Basically Dave came out there and he said that there's a discrepancy with the existing contours and the proposed contours for the site plan. And I don't really agree with them. I built hundreds of jobs in town, I built roads, buildings, parking lots. These are basically all proposed. So basically the red is the existing grades, contours, excuse me. Blue is the proposed contours, and then the black is the existing slope. We, for our site plan for 4 Jennifer's Way, we're allowed to work to the back of the contours, the proposed contours, and that's where our mark is at, on the low side of the slope. And that's what this depicts right here. I basically make models for all my jobs. That's a model right there. That basically shows the existing slope, and you can see another slide profile for the existing contours, and it's right there. I meant everything you guys asked me to do. If you wanted me to save the trees, I saved exactly what you wanted me to go, all the green ribbons, everything was saved. I did what you wanted. And Dave said, you know, just, I want you to present it to them because he feels that it's too far. And I disagree because the existing contours the existing grades were there, and you have to match something. Eventually, you know, you have to blend when you do excavation work to something. Basically, that's the way it looks, and then that's basically the red line is the existing, and it kind of marries right into it nicely. I don't really agree with Dave at all, so that's kind of my
I'm
model.
following you online digitally, by the way. I'm looking at all of your contour maps that you provided. You're looking at the color-coded contour maps that have the
Yeah.
existing and corrected and with the slope designations, correct?
Yes,
Correct.
and then
Got
the
it.
red.
All right. I'm looking at exactly what you're looking at, so I'm following.
Okay, it's the blue. But the blue is the proposed. Like your finished grade 3D. Like if you look at it here, it's that's your finished. It's upside down, but you're looking at it correctly. But then if you overlay like the existing grades, you know, it marries right into the slope of the existing. That's kind of what it was. Nico mark trees on site. They're right there in place. I didn't do the grass yet. We're working. It's summertime. Obviously, I'm gonna do it at the end of the year. My neighbor's got all those wildflower mix. We're gonna plant the wildflowers down it, and we'll have the grass look nice. I'm not gonna make it look like that. It's just middle of summer. Seed's $200 a bag. So it's kind of foolish. Like seed. I mean, that's what I do for a living. I'm not gonna leave it like I don't know. That nice.
When do you want to get seed?
In the next 2 weeks, Nico. I mean, obviously. Yeah,
It's coming into the.
exactly. So I gave Dave my bond for the seed, the grading, and I forgot what else Dave, whatever I gave him for it. And that's really it. So it's basically, I mean, these are the way it sits right now. And I was just gonna come back and
I'll be honest, I don't understand it.
Yeah, it's hard for me to understand what's going on here too. I haven't looked at maps like this before. So you're saying, I believe if I understand correctly, that in the initial proposal, there was discussion about how the grading would go.
Yep.
And it's been done. I haven't been out to the site, so I'm not sure where you are in the process, but it's been
it's
done.
graded. Yeah.
Okay, and these reflect how it has been graded?
Yeah, so the blues per Doug's drawing, the red is the existing grade, which is important at the site because you have to match the existing grades. Regardless of where he puts his design grades, you have to match the
What is
existing.
this, a slice of? Like the property or?
Yeah. I mean, you're looking at the hill. Here's the house sits right here.
Thank you.
That's that's the house sits right here. That's your retention basin.
Okay.
Then you come in, the driveway's right here, the house, that's the existing slope. Then
Where's the road from here? I'm just
Here.
like-
you pull in,
Yeah.
you're gonna basically come right around and then you pull into the garage right here. So obviously, there's a
So
hill.
the foreground and then around to the left side are where the
Yes.
water flow is
Well,
going.
all this is just trying to show you is that that's the grade that's there and that's how it matches the existing grade.
So in other words, the red was
The existing-
untouched, the blue is what you touched to blend into the red.
Yeah, but this is per Doug's drawing.
Yeah.
Yes.
It has not been done yet, correct? You're just looking at doing gradient matching is exactly.
No,
what
it
you're
has
doing.
been.
It has been done.
Oh, it has been done. Okay.
These are your proposed and existing grades to match. Until you all
Got
that it blends into it. It's not like it's out of place.
How
or-
far off is it from what was proposed?
It's not far off at all because the silt fence line is right here. The silt fence line is right at the bottom of the slope.
Okay.
And then that's what you guys wanted. The slope, the silt fence is ultimately the limited disturbance. But whatever was below like the silt fence, if there was like some other, it's all clean to it, but I mean, we got a landscape to it and Dave can come back and look at
And
the grass.
nothing that was finished, even though maybe a little different, is affecting the amount of water going off your property into neighbors. or
Same
anything
way.
like that.
I mean, the slope, well, let's be honest, the slope is the same slope. It's-
Right, I'm saying you
very
didn't
similar.
go from like the water going west, now it goes east.
No.
Okay,
It's the same,
same flow.
it's the same flow, water going down to the back. I mean, obviously, if it's a 2-to-1 or a 4-to-1 or 3-to-1 or 1-to-1,
Okay.
it's all going back. You're allowed to touch your design, to the limited disturbance, which is ultimately your silt fence. And that's kind of what's there. That's, so when we make our design grades for any model building, Clark Park, whatever road, that's how you make your grades. That's how you stake out.
Like, so have you been out there?
Yeah,
How far off is it? It's-
I had a chance to go out there, and I just happened to view the property from the adjoining, property. So I was just in the second, I think the property line, it's like, somewhere, it goes pretty close to the house, right? So, yeah, it's like up here on the hills. And I was just wondering if the slope seemed steep to me, but I didn't know, I didn't know the field, like how.
Yeah, but I mean,
How
the-
deep is too steep for erosion
The
to happen
slope
without-
is that it still has to be netted and seeded. And I'm gonna hydroseed the slope. It's
That
gonna
was
look
all
nice.
I was concerned with.
You know what I
And
mean?
if it matched the proposed.
And it will match
The proposed grading.
because that's the side profile of it to the existing grades. Regardless of what any engineer draws, you have to match the existing grade. I mean, you can't just put a slope here and there's an existing hill there. You have to go to something that's blend something. Or if you can't see it, it's useless. I just need to, I told Dave, I just gotta put the grass in, that's it. For the next 2 weeks, I'm gonna seed it, we'll landscape the whole place. I want to put a patio in the back one. I didn't do it because to make sure everything's fine. So Dave was concerned about it. I said, I'd make your, 2 models or 3 models and show them.
What's the slope there now? Slope of that on along the water. This is the.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's in the same spot, it didn't cross the silt fence line. His silt fence line is kind of where my computer shows.
Is it sloped enough to be stable?
Yeah, absolutely. It's gonna be stable. It's gonna be seeded.
Once the
nice.
grass is on it,
It'll be nice. I'm gonna seed it nice. I'm not gonna let I was gonna spray it with the wildflower mix like the guy did in the neighbor, so it looks nice.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if you're concerned. It's just,
No,
it's your house.
it's not gonna erode at all. We'll seed it nicely in the back and then that's really it.
It's all about.
you still fence,
Yeah.
how far is that from the property line?
Storms can just take
The silt fence goes way out. It's 5 acres. It's just land. Goes all the way across the river to all of the other side.
Do you
Right,
have a
but
plan?
you got disturbance up to the silt fence. The silt
Yeah,
fence
yes.
goes, how close silt fence to the property, neighbor's property?
Oh, it's far.
Okay,
It's far. I mean, it's not even, you're not
and you
even close.
disturb nothing after the silt fence.
No. I mean, it's to the back of the slope where the silt fence is, but I mean, you got a long way to go to get to the property.
My only concern is if it affects the water flow to the wetlands or to the
It's
neighbors.
the same way it's gonna be before. There's nothing different about it.
What's that? And there's a brook there, that's the, what that goes right through our park.
But it's still the same.
Wrong, sorry, out here, just to back up on that, Pat, it shouldn't change any of the
Right.
volume of water flow by any means. But I can't tell based on the graphing if it would change velocity of water flow, but there's enough steps in process to mitigate the water as it flows off that.
It's gonna be hydroseeded. I mean, it's my own house.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna.
You're far enough away, that's
I'm
what.
not even close.
Yeah. Exactly. That's where I was getting at with that. So apologies. I have trouble getting it out.
So, under there to fill the rest to
It's just whatever was around the house. It's all like rock around the house. It's all rock. I told Dave, like everything in the hillside's all like it's rocky. It's rock.
and then you topped it with topsoil
I didn't spread it yet. I mean,
or whatever, like it's,
gotta
is
just
it mostly soil?
Yes.
Would you say, or is it like rocky underneath?
It's rocky. I mean, there's nothing that's gonna wash out. It's all shot rock. I hammered the whole.
I mean, mostly it's all about erosion.
It's not
and
going
risk
anywhere. It's all rock.
in storm events.
Yeah, everything in the
You
whole
see a
hillside.
landslide, it's
Everything in the whole hillside is.
Do you have plans to plant tree roots to stabilize the hill, like
Grass.
bushes or
Wild flowers outside.
because you need something strong,
Yeah, it's gonna be-
perennially strong, like
Yeah.
ideally rivers use tree roots to hold their banks.
all the trees are all on the low side. It's not going anywhere. It hasn't gone anywhere in the whole year. It's never washed at all. Once the grass grows,
When there was pictures in the thing in the Google Drive of the silt fence that had been overrun, big storm, some storm and it had been, whatever, knocked down and like
Yeah.
the water had things,
they have it.
which happens if you have a chance to fix that, it's still up and intact.
I mean, the silt fence they walked around, the silt fence on, because
It's good. Or it's
but I mean, I'm just being honest. My biggest problem in all of our jobs, I do a lot of jobs, it's just silt fence, it's site fence. You always fix a silt fence. It doesn't matter how much you put in, how many hay bales, rocks, it doesn't matter.
When does that come out? When it's stabilized? After the
Yes.
grass grows?
Yeah.
I asked this to do for a living, what's the slope that grass will stabilize?
That's what
Does
they're
that-
doing, basically.
Huh?
That's basically.
2-to-1.
It's a
and
2-to-1.
what's that?
So I did Gray's Bridge, right? So if you know where
Okay.
Gray's Bridge, big extra space storage, if you drive down there, you see the whole slope around there. That slope is a lot steeper than this slope.
And that's grass.
It's all grass. And the thing's been there for years. That's a huge.
That was basically
massive.
the surface.
You know what I mean? So
If it's gonna be grass, what we need to hold it.
Yeah.
What's sufficient. So
It's gonna be all longer. Oh, grass slope on top of it, and that's how it's really.
I want to bring David when all the commissioners had a chance to ask the questions that they asked.
one more thing I have to say, I know there was we had marked a bunch of designated for, and we did keep a fair number of them that were outside the perimeter of the area of disturbance, but none were kept within the area of disturbance. That there were several to numerous trees marked within that area of disturbance. I've since say that.
I believe during the sidewalk, he indicated he would keep what he could, but he wasn't gonna be keeping trees that are under his house.
That was the discussion. Right. But the effect.
But I will lay, I mean, we're gonna landscape this
that
place nice around the
it
house.
created a clear cut. So
I'm gonna landscape around the house. It looks.
do you have plans to plant mature trees to replace the canopy that has lost space? Is that
I want to put mature trees around the house.
no shade? You don't shade.
I'm gonna put some trees around the back. I mean, that takes the house. Somewhere around the house, we're gonna put trees. Or even some green giants or some, evergreens around the driveway or something like that.
Yeah, it was kind of an imperfect compromise. I appreciated like the fact that you're trying to build your home, but I didn't love the fact that it's clear cut this particular site so close to all the wetlands. I'm not sure I word favor
You made
because
that
of that.
right.
Like the clear cut of this site around so much wetlands around, so much growth. Included in the site.
Those got a 5-acre
With,
site though.
and there's the endangered species that have the longer bat and whatever the other two species of bat that are notified. Or the, you know, those mature white oaks that were up in property that were marked designated to remain are their habitat with their old exfoliating bark that they hide under. It's just an animal thing. But
It's not
that
just an
was-
animal thing, but it's not what we're here to talk about today.
well, I said it,
That's-
yeah, but I said it clear for the record that those trees definitely were in fact. So some
Right, but at the same point, I mean, we've been over this before, how do those trees affect the wetlands? And I understand there's points of view about clear cutting, not clear cutting, that sort of stuff, that pertains to wetlands. You know, how it connects to the wetlands or.
It's a riparian buffer, it's a riparian buffer zone around the wetland. You have 100 foot upland area to protect exactly that environment so that the rivers stay clean and the slopes stay stabilized and whatever inhabits that area. In this case, three different species too, having to do with trees, but.
Right. Or else, I mean, it's
So
got
it
5
was a tough
acres.
pill to swallow.
The whole
That's-
back is still there.
And there was an agreement that was in one of the conditions of approval. Put up the bathhouses. Sure, it's that habitat that was lost.
Yeah, just,
So
I want to make clear something. The trees that you left weren't necessarily in the wetlands, correct? They might have been.
Whatever you
Outside
wanted
of-
me to
right.
save, and I could have saved them, I did,
Right.
just for the goodness of the
Right,
committee.
They
it
were
wasn't that they were in the
outside the-
wetlands, you did save some that were outlined outside
Yes.
the wetlands.
outside the limit of disturbance.
Whatever you wanted me to save and you flagged and I could save, that I saved. for,
Yes.
Just for the,
I wanted.
I could have cut the ribbons and no, but I saved just because you wanted me to do it, I did it for you. And they're white
You
oaks,
cut-
so,
You did cut several.
well, if they're in your way, you, that's what I said, you have to do it. Fortunately.
I would
It has,
just-
I mean, that's the nature of the beast.
I would just question, your, as you go on building projects, I recommend and I ask you that out the record. Like how, if it can it be possible in the future to save trees on sites, on building sites. So.
Dave, did
I
you
don't really
have,
build out, I mean, honestly, I don't build, I just do the excavation work. I'm the wrong guy, honestly. I'm not really, I just do the excavation, we do excavation.
That's why I
we
like the
should-
red fence.
I don't know.
we should keep our conversation that's in front of us here for tonight, and should you bring another proposal before us, we can certainly have more conversations in the future about things that are. If you were
Thank you.
out there, can you clarify what it was that you were looking at? I know some of us, and myself included, are doing our best to interpret contour maps, and it's certainly not my area of expertise. Can you weigh in on what your concerns were?
I would be happy to, Madam Chair. I would suggest if our recording secretary, Amanda, is able to distribute copies of the site plans that this commission approved, so you can try to follow along. If for some reason what I show on the screen doesn't come through clearly, or if it's just too small to take a look at. I want to keep my comments succinct, just because I can only imagine how stifling the temperature in that room may be if the air conditioners aren't on full blast. Okay.
I think we're okay.
Okay. And I don't want to short circuit the dialogue that's happening between the commission and the applicant. I would just want to make sure that we're channeling the conversation towards why I recommended to the applicant that he come before you for a modification application. Okay. So let's preface this with one other thing. I did a zoning compliance inspection, and I did that as the inland wetlands agent. I by no means am going to imply that I have any qualifications as an engineer or as a surveyor. All of the observations I made, they're based off of what this commission approved in its site plans, and just based on measurements I made with what I thought was common sense. So that being said, let's pull up the site plans here. Let me know if you guys can see that on your screen.
Yep.
Yeah, on
I'm
the-
following along on the PDF version on my screen.
Excellent. Okay. So just to clarify, the area of the property that was cleared, it was always the applicant's intention to clear cut the majority of the property, and that's what this commission had approved. That wasn't an issue when I had gone out there. That wasn't a flag that was raised to me. And just for this commission's understanding, the prompt for me going out there was so that the applicant can ultimately acquire what's called a certificate of occupancy, a CO. So they can go to whatever insurance agency they're looking for coverage and and say to them, hey, I have complied with everything that the municipal agencies at Town Hall have approved me for, that being the septic system, the single family dwelling itself, and the land use commission approvals, i.e. you guys and what, okay? So I go out there, I received an as-built survey, and I received a letter of substantial completion from Doug DeBesta. Both of those are in the Google Drive. I don't have any issue with what those show. The part that caught my attention, however, was if you guys can see, oh, you can't see my cursor, can you? Let me try resharing it again. Okay, that's better. Can you guys see my cursor now?
We see you. Oh, there we are.
Okay, excellent. So,
Yeah.
so the area that Mike is trying to share with you guys is this part of the property that is behind, that is due east of the completed single family dwelling, where there was some grading that was proposed and approved to be done, to bring the area that was proposed to be filled back in line with what the existing contours are. That's what Mr. Diorio is describing to you guys. So that's the area that I'm focusing on in the photos that I'm going to share with you. Okay. So let's bring up the photographs. All right. And let me know if you guys can see these.
Yep.
Okay. So this gives you as accurate an idea of as what I could show through a photo of what has happened, or what the final conditions are, and compare that to what this commission approved. When I went out there, based on what I saw, the area that was proposed to be graded out here, my observations, it suggests that it's different. Okay. And that's not for good or bad. It's just an observation. It is worth noting that there is the silt fence line that roughly follows the water course, extending north-south on the property. Just for this commission's clarification, there did not appear to be any immediate concerns in the way of adverse impacts to the water course out there. Okay, the silt fence was operating. Yeah, go ahead.
All right, just I noticed in this picture that the silt fence seems overrun there as it is.
Right. So for wherever there were corrections that were asked to be made, I had asked Mike to do that. The silt fence sections here do appear to be stretched, but I checked all of this section here for any failures, any rips, tears, or anything that would suggest that material had gone through, and there weren't any. So all of the material that had been brought in here appears to have been contained.
Dave,
Go ahead.
Isn't it the fact that any construction site has that? That's what silt fencing's for. Any construction site I've been on, you have to maintain your silt fence because that, otherwise you wouldn't have it there. It's made to stop that.
Right. And the silt fence isn't what prompted me to advise Mike to bring an application before you guys. It's this the change that to me looks different than what was proposed on or what this commission approved with its site plans. The area that you'll notice up here, if you guys can see my cursor, the area that's flat appears to extend a bit further away from the house than what this commission had approved. If you go,
It's a bit.
go ahead. I'm sorry.
How much farther does it extend?
That is a good question. And let me try to find.
I
a
saw a picture of
photograph.
the measuring tape.
Does it go past the house to the north?
I'm sorry.
Goes
you're
past
saying
the
that-
house to the north, right? The grading?
So my measurements weren't based on they weren't as a comparative to any other structures that were out there. I did mine based on what the site plan showed, and when I measured out from the corner of the garage to where the flat area extends to, going due west, it measures roughly 42 feet. Okay. The comparative that you guys should make is, okay, that's a number. It's just a number, but the context is where is that in relation to what this commission approved, and what difference does this ultimately show? So I'm trying to find the scan that I made for you guys. Okay.
Yeah, it's an inch.
This
Okay.
house,
So
explain it, Dave, right? Can you please tell him? Yeah, thank you.
I would, can I just finish what I have to say, and then I would welcome any response that you have. So I overlaid the as-built survey that the applicant surveyor submitted to show us where the house is going. No issue with that at all. It seems to jive pretty well with where they had originally intended the house to go. So not an issue for me. The point that I had expressed was, okay, let's take where the house is, because we can see that, and let's try to get an idea for how far off from this corner of the garage, which is where I measured, to where the slope begins. And if I'm looking at the site plan here, that number's roughly 15, 16 feet, I think is what we came out to. It's maybe a little bit more than that now, because the house, it looks like it shifted a little bit to the south and a little bit to the right. So it's a little farther away from the silt fence section here that you guys all saw in my last photo. So the prompt for me to do this was, okay, I can authorize some minor changes, okay, emphasis on minor, that an applicant chooses to make in the field, especially when it's beyond the regulated upland review area. If it's really inconsequential to, what this commission reviewed, I'm not going to entertain it before you guys. I want to try to streamline things and keep them moving. So in those circumstances, I just handle those myself. But because where this area of regrading is taking place, your upland review area line extends through a good portion of that garage, as does the area where this regrading was. And because of the amount of material that was brought back there, I felt uncomfortable acting as the agent, doing something administratively by myself. And furthermore, there's a mechanism in your approval and in the regulations where if the applicant wants to make a change to the approved plans or the plans that this commission approved, not a problem. You just have to ask for it, okay? And yes, the question likely isn't going to be, did the limit of disturbance change? Did the applicant go any closer to areas that they weren't supposed to touch? My offhand answer for that would be no. Okay. The distinction, however, is if you're going to change the amount of fill or the amount of grading that's brought in, you need to ask for it. So Mr. Diorio, Mike has brought in those models, which he presented to you guys. Happy to go through anything else that the applicant submitted as part of their application, or any other photos I took, or anything else that I put in as part of the record. If you guys have any questions, the point of all this isn't to make a mountain out of a molehill. It's just so that you guys are aware of the change that was made. You're comfortable with it from a wetlands perspective, and we move on. We have a bond in place, a $10,000 bond that covers erosion sedimentation controls. It covers grading, and it covers the area to be reseeded. So we have that in place. So it's not like there are any big concerns for me at this point. It's just presenting it to you, making sure you're okay with it. And if you guys have any other questions, now's the opportunity for you to ask them and get them clarified. So
Dave,
that's
couple
really all I
questions.
have to say. Go ahead.
The level, I know we're looking at the flat side, the bottom of the slope that was changed, is it still at the same location? That makes sense. So it's still,
Yeah.
the end of it's still where it is. So
The-
basically you went out about 10 more feet flat with a little pitch, it looks like. So that slope is a little greater, and that's what we're talking about. We have a bond in place for erosion sediment control, which we hold until it's established. Agreed. Okay. I have to say, being on numerous construction sites, this is not unusual. You know, it's not unusual to have an extra 10 feet around the house flat. You know, building plans, I mean, you get to try as close as possible to build them, but there's still a guide to express what you're trying to do and how to do it. It would have been nice if you're exactly whatever the whatever the thing was, but there is some, every building will have some type of modifications to it, because as you're working on it, things change that you cannot anticipate. I think my question for me is, the plan the way it is, number one, does it affect neighbors, does it affect the water, of course, or anything like that? And number two is, would I have proved it being the way it's done now? That's what I look at something like this. I think safety wise, it's better to have more in the backyard, because if the people back there, you have a backyard, you're not falling off a cliff. I would advise, I mean, I don't know the pitch, like a fence or something. You know, some border there or
Can you show the
something
picture again,
for safety, that's all. You know, but again, that's my 2 cents. I mean, I've seen worse than this on construction sites where it's like, they should have gone and redo it. This to me, especially when you have a machine in there, God, if I had a machine in there, you'd be really in here. You know, so, you know, that's why they don't let me use backhoes.
I have a question. Obviously, there's drains that have been put around the house, curtain drains, whatever, French drains, whatever you call it. Where do those drains drain into?
So that was a part of the discussion that we had when the original stuff was brought before us, the original proposal, and it's all in the plans, and I don't recall because we were doing lots and lots of plans.
Footing drain goes
But-
right up there.
Right out.
They're
I believe
not.
right here, it's like a galley, right? Yeah. It looks like a galley. They don't come out, they go here
Okay,
and then they see this
but
thing.
that has
Yeah,
nothing to do with it going. Okay,
good
So
question.
that- yeah, and as we were doing more plans.
all right, and of course, this is the first time I've
Yeah,
seen
yeah,
this because I
glad you asked
no,
the question.
yeah,
It's a good question, yep. But,
Those are, they're Colton 100s.
That hasn't been put in question. galleys are in, like they're supposed to be?
Yes.
The stormwater management system is installed. And there's a letter of substantial completion from the project engineer stating that.
Yeah, but what pipe are we looking at here? Where is that?
That's a good question. That is the footing drain.
Draining to the west.
Yes.
Okay, so that's just catching stormwater runoff from,
No.
or groundwater around the house.
That's very clean water coming out of there. Hopefully not too much water.
Yeah, the volumes of water that would come out of that footing drain, it's a trickle at best. Like you could probably get a higher PSI from water that would come out of a watering can than what would come out of that footing drain there.
And correct me if I'm wrong, that's what we're talking about here tonight would increase or reduce capacity or volume. If anything, maybe velocity, but there's not enough to even have that kind of conversation.
Are there more questions for the applicant or for Dave from the commission? Is there more
Not for me.
discussion?
Thank you for your points, Dave.
Dave, can you go back to the original picture?
Sure.
Slow. I don't know if that slope is stable, but this tree here that was one of the ones that's designated to remain, I see to leave it, it's gonna die because it's covered up over the trunk. If it hasn't died already, it's gonna die soon. You should take it out, but that's,
And that slope is like half as steep as the one on Grace Bridge where the storage was.
I don't know that much about slopes or anything, but that looked like once you plant it, it'll be stable. I've seen worse, but
The roots of that dead tree will still hold the soil in place even if it's back.
just
More comments or questions?
I think it's gross. I think it's a bad build and we should improve the site. No offense, it's your home. I appreciate that. It's not good. It's nice. It's for a builder, it's like great, but from a meshing of construction in with its landscape, it's not done.
I don't think it's done. I think
Is
it's a
it further?
favor when it's for Dave, whoever, when maybe, I don't know how long it takes. I have trouble growing grass, trust me, I'm trying. When it's seeded, grown, finished, if you can take a picture and send it to us. So, yeah, just,
Can't we go out and look at it?
In order to go out and look at it, we need to organize an official site walk. We need permission from the
Right.
owner, and
Right.
it'll be closed by then, so we usually do our site walks before.
The
We could
adjoining property
possibly
is Bethel,
request
the
that.
adjoining
Yeah.
property is Bethel Land Trust property. We'll just reserve to go see the site.
it's a little ways off
It's south end of the
from the property line.
People walk.
You can walk through there.
Yeah. you can-
Because not on.
Just for the record, that's Don Good. I have to do that. Don Goodrich speaking.
Former chairman.
All right, so Dave, where do we go from here?
Well, what is ultimately being sought is, for lack of better words, an okay from the board that the applicant can go forth with the modifications that they've made. And go ahead.
I'll go ahead and take a read from everybody on how they feel about that, whatever they haven't voiced yet. I'm gonna ask you though, are you comfortable with the way this has landed?
So the distinction for me is what work was done. Is it stable? Is it adversely impacting any on-site regulated wetlands? And does it increase the area that the commission approved to be disturbed? And I'll try to answer my questions in reverse order. The limit of disturbance that appears to have been honored There's a section of silt fence that you guys saw in my photos that runs parallel to the water course going north-south on the water course's eastern side. Okay. That line does not appear to have been changed. The distinction for me is that there appears to have been more material that was brought behind the house. You know, and that's not to say that makes the property any better or worse. It's an observation. Does it change? Does it appear to have any direct adverse impacts to the wetlands? No.
Well, that's our primary directive here, is to make
Right.
sure that things are not. So
Right.
that's
That's correct.
It looks like it's all been pushed to the wetland, pushed back. If I'm seeing the silt line fence, I mean, just to be clear, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I see this X and dash line as a silt fence line. And if he's increased it by 1 inch on here, which is 30 feet,
Yeah, the house on that one, Nico, is different. It's
The house is forward,
the house is.
You're right.
East and south of more.
it's more here. This is the
Can
edge
you bring
here.
that overlay up again, Dave?
It's green to orange.
Oh, so the actual placement of the house is.
It's more
little
than
shifted,
that.
it's a little shifted.
He's
Okay.
gonna
A
bring it
little
up.
bit, maybe like
Dave
5
had an
feet.
overlay of where it was proposed and where it landed.
You
There
did
was
the
some
excavating?
variance.
Because right now the silt
Yeah,
fence
You
looks like.
bring any material on?
There it is.
We brought
See
the
the
back of
outline
it,
versus
it's all
the
cut down. If you see that.
Right,
model.
right, but
Actually,
did you
Jared,
bring
can you
any
borrow that?
material?
Brought some, there is
Yellow.
an industrial,
Oh,
there's a fill
oh,
on the site. There is some.
So you did.
Thank you, Dave.
So,
I mean, these are, we've done 1,000 homes, they're big sites. They need, you need filters. One load of fill doesn't go very far.
No, you know.
it is what it is. It's been pushed. They got more flat ground, it's nice for the house to have.
As long as that slope is stable, that's the key.
And it doesn't look like it's stable right now as we speak. It's not.
Right.
We're stable, on what's done.
Right.
That's why we have a.
All the rain we had, and it was wide once.
Yeah, I mean, was it graded before we had that massive storm
It
event
looks like
last
it.
Didn't
summer?
even wash.
It looks like the silt fence was totally overrun and logged in.
It's a little
That's
bit
a
of
normal
silt. That's a little bit of silt. It did not spill into over the fence.
But
There's
it's
no-
normal for
there's
those
not.
to happen.
And
Was it graded?
then jobs that
Yes.
we do, that
Before
sometimes
that
they do
major
blow
storm
out.
event?
Yeah.
So what do?
Did
You
see
replace
any
it, fix
major
it.
damage?
It happens. And if this is all, this is one on one.
I'm not even
Straight
talking
down.
about
It's
what
not-
he's
not-
talking about.
it's
I
not-
just mean in general, that was a.
Doing a job right now, it's one on one like this,
That was
straight down.
substantial flooding.
That's
Did you
nasty.
see any major impact?
I'm working
from
on
that?
it as we
That would be a
speak.
good indication of how this
Put it
Yeah,
in.
they're
is
gonna,
managing.
it's one on one.
Yeah, no,
That's the whole thing.
This is, it's
That was
all
like
like,
no
it's rock in the back.
Once you
Thank you.
I told him, what you could do there is take those flower seeds, what do you call it? Yeah, mix flower things, shoot it, look really nice, and it'll be nice and clean. Put a fence up on top for safety reason, or he could build a retaining wall right to the bottom, fill right to the top, fill the whole thing in.
We know who you are, but for the record, can you state your name?
I'm
and
sorry, it's
address?
only Dior, I apologize.
Thank you. No, it's okay. It's just procedural. Thank you.
But there's so many things you could do, but it's stable, it hasn't, nothing.
That's good.
All right. So Dave, do we need what do we need to do?
You should, there should be a motion that is made. Well, this commission first should come to a consensus on whether or not
Do
to
that.
approve the modification as it's been presented to you guys tonight. And then you should formally make a motion to
Got it.
modify, whether or not the commission is okay with this, with the modifications, if there's any conditions that needs to be made, or if the commission feels otherwise, they should indicate that.
Okay. thank
You wouldn't need to draft anything, sorry for the interruption. You wouldn't
right
need to
ahead.
draft anything, in addition to what we already have, as long as we give our approval. Well, assuming we give an approval, there's nothing else that needs to be drafted or signed for next meeting. This could be resolved today.
Yeah, that's the way I would read it, Kevin. If I'm looking at the regulations, it doesn't say anything has to be done in writing, like a formal approval per se. I would add something to the
Excellent.
file to reflect this commission's decision, but I don't think it would be anything that you guys would have to read beforehand just to the language is set.
Agreed. That's what I understood too. I just wanted to make sure. I didn't want to make the assumption of being correct.
Sure. All good.
Before we move on to consensus and such, I would like to take a moment and see our member here. I'd like to see Pat for Nick. And Dave, I'm not sure about this. Is it maybe this is not personal. Is it appropriate for Terry to weigh in on this?
Probably not.
I don't see why she couldn't participate on this. I understand that while she may not have been part of the original application per se, it's a modification. You know that where it's not like Terry's coming in at this at the 11th hour. This is just being presented for the first time to everybody tonight.
Okay, fair enough. So then, Terry, if you want to vote, you may. If you're not comfortable, you can abstain, and that's entirely up to you. All right, so can I get a consensus? How are we all feeling? Let me start on the screen. Kevin, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling like an approval is definitely adequate for this. I really don't have any questions or issues with what's happening.
Thank you. I'm going to just take the consensus and then.
I have a procedural question.
Oh, okay.
Dave, I have a procedural question for you. What does it enter us? What does it mean? Like, should we, I understand we can vote to approve. What are the ramifications if we do not? The bill decides.
Well, then you would have to give reasons as to why the modification, you know, why the modification as it's being sought for, you know, isn't something that you guys can approve.
What happens if we don't approve it?
He digs it up. He has to go to the site plan.
Right. You would have,
And he puts a slope. He does the slope. You can call a surveyor and he applies for. Here's the thing. It's a good question. Okay, we're talking about maybe 5-10 feet. Okay, the house itself, if you look at it, is moved. I don't know, northeast, whether left, right, 10 feet. Versus a plan. Are you going to the zoning board now and saying the house has moved 10 feet? Put it back? No. So let's put it kind of in perspective. Right? It's not negatively affecting anything. I would have approved it with the way it is. So I would just say, if it does get approved, you know, the modification or whatever, not to all of a sudden wind up having cement blocks back there to even go, you know what I'm saying? That one pass and that's it, so to speak.
yeah. To answer your question, Nico, if for some reason this commission does not approve the modification, then the applicant would have to comply with whatever the site plan show.
But like I said to you guys, if you look at my model, right? That's the existing grades per the drawing. I'm not lying to you. That's the existing grade. If there was a case and you called New England Land Spring and they staked out my grades, there's really nothing to it. There's not much to tweak. It's very, very close to its existing grades, which you have to match. So
Keep in mind, it's unforested now, so it's not stable.
Keep in mind, we're not talking like all of a sudden he filled in 8 feet. You have a 2 foot on like 40 feet here. So you're talking about 18 inches. So that's not, I'm not looking at the grade this way. I'm looking at the grade this way on the slope. Right. And we've gotten testimony that has been tested already, that slope, because we've had major storms that hasn't affected.
But we're relying on these builders here, which is
absolutely
respectfully, like we're asking you. These two builders who are now.
And also looking at the slope itself. I mean, if I'm looking at a slope like this and you're telling me it's fine, no, it's not. But when you're looking at a slope like this, I'm not an engineer either, but I know enough to look at it to say there's a problem there, and I know enough to look at it. To me, it's not at the point where I need any more information to decide if that's a stable slope or not, especially since
let me offer these two suggestions, if I may. Okay, there's a requirement in the zoning regulations, and anyone can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm almost certain that there's a requirement that a slope has to be pitched at a minimum of a 2-to-1 slope. Okay, and the angle of the slope isn't what's in question from, you know, whether or not it's too steep or not. Okay. The other item is, if the commission as a whole is concerned about the soils, you know, staying in place until they're completely stabilized, if you guys want to put in a mechanism where, you know, after a certain rain event, or you know, at your discretion, you want something that says, hey, I went out and took a look at the silt fence, it's doing what it's supposed to, or hey, we had you know, this thing happen and we needed to change that. You have, you know, that would be totally within your bounds to have some kind of stipulation like that. So
I'm sorry. Correct me if I'm wrong, Dave. You already do that though. Don't you already check you checked as progress is ongoing for these projects to ensure things of that nature anyways?
Yeah, and furthermore, we have a bond to that effect where if for some reason something drastic happens where the applicant isn't able to cover the cost, we rely on the bond that's posted to fix whatever needs to be fixed.
That's great there.
Okay, so in the interest of time, any more questions or comments from commission members? Okay, so Kevin had weighed in that he felt comfortable with approval. Nico?
I don't think so.
Okay. Pat? Okay, and I'm leaning towards approval as well. So that's where we stand. Are we good to call a vote, Dave, or a motion? Excuse me.
It would be a motion. That's correct.
Great. So I'll entertain a motion to approve the modifications as proposed this evening by the applicant to 14 Jennifer's Way, 4 Jennifer's Way. Thank you. Anybody want to make that motion?
Motion made.
Any discussion?
Or you need a second first, and then you can go into discussion.
Second.
Seconded by Terry. Thank you for keeping me honest. Any discussion?
Do you guys want to have any stipulations or conditions for your decision?
We have a bond.
I am comfortable with it.
Let's see this out.
I'd like them to replant in kind the 7 trees that were designated to remain if they're removed from the property. So
But we haven't voted on the motion yet.
that would
Okay.
I don't think that's not within our realm.
I did the motion for the approval.
Well-
Pat made the motion. Terry approved it. Now we're discussing.
Okay.
it should be.
See, sometimes it's not. Sometimes. I'm sorry, I was
Did you have
having a
a motion?
sidebar with
Do you have a
Amanda. Yes, we do, but we're in the discussion phase of the motion on the table. Dave, asked if we wanted any stipulations. I didn't hear what your comment was, Nico, because I was talking to Amanda about what was work.
I said that the applicant should replace in kind the mature trees and replant new trees, the 7 that were designated to remain on site that were taken out from within the service should be replaced.
So how does that? I
It's not
understand.
our right to request that though.
I think it is.
Ask
It's
as a
something we
favor,
necessarily
ask
do
as a
during-
favor, but we can't demand that.
Right. Because how does it affect the wetlands? How does it?
It does not, and it's already done. So,
We're not
but
gonna
we,
do
we,
it.
we can ask it as a favor, but we cannot make a demand or a stipulation of it after the fact.
And if it's in our regulations,
But on what basis is the question?
that we're carrying a buffer and a tree cover within 100 feet of wetland.
But we didn't put that in as a requirement in the initial application. So why would we be changing that restriction on them at this point simply because they come back for a modification on a different issue?
I'm just saying it for the record that should have been a condition. Like,
I
of this
understand that, but
application.
it wasn't.
It's not. I'm not saying anything to proceed.
Okay,
I'm just saying for the record.
okay. All right. Were there any other modifications or mechanisms that anyone else wanted to propose?
No, ma'am?
Kevin, it sounded to me like you were not in favor of that modification by Nico. Am I correct or incorrect?
You are correct.
Okay. Terry, how did you feel about that modification on adding 7 trees?
7 trees gonna do.
Thanks, not so much. Pat says no, I'm also not in favor of that. Okay, so, and we have no other modifications. Any other discussion?
Right.
Hearing none, I will go ahead and call a vote. Kevin,
Aye.
Nico? Abstain? Pat?
Aye.
Carrie? Danielle, aye. Motion carries. Thank you. Thank you for coming and presenting back to us.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Have a nice night.
All righty.
Thank you for staying.
Now I think we can move on to 13 Redwood Drive, yes?
15 break.
I can. Would you like us to call
You have a great
recess?
night. I will.
I'll be right back.
Oh, because you've been,
We have the house right in front of the Patty's line.
okay.
Yes.
I had, my wife and I were looking.
I'm gonna go ahead.
I had a meeting with him
I
in
know.
the driveway. He was not present.
I'm gonna
Really?
call a recess
Okay.
for 5 minutes so that Nico can come back and join us and participate. So calling a recess at 8:05, we'll return at 8:10.
Okay, second.
Understood.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you. And a vote, Kevin?
Aye.
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 Right.
Okay, so called. Thank you. Calling us back to order at 8:11. Do I need a motion for that?
No.
Okay, I just did. We're back in session. And we are moving on to 15 Great Pasture Road. I do not see anyone here to present tonight, so I guess that falls to you, Dave.
So this, no one should be presenting, and
Okay.
no one had any intention to, because this application
Oh, this is the one where they did.
came on my desk this morning. Okay?
Right.
So this is coming before you for acceptance. If you guys need a few minutes to review the materials, which Amanda can distribute out to you, or I can put them on the screen, let me know. But ultimately, we're looking for direction on whether or not this is a site plan review or a public hearing. And if you guys want a site walk, and whenever you guys want the review for this to take place.
It's right, it's 15 Great Pasture / Booster.
So you know I will be on silent. I will be reviewing everything that you attached in the email that you sent out today. So I'll take a look through everything.
Okay.
It goes over.
This is why they clear cut. I'm with you, Nico. Let's
There's more
put
clear
those-
cut. Yeah.
This is why they clear cut the property that night.
Wait, why?
Just storage unit
Oh, it's another storage unit.
and then a garbage thing. I don't own it. It's within their right.
What is the use? The use, do we know?
Looks like a very big storage unit.
Like it said, they were building 4 buildings.
Sweet.
And
Dave,
yeah, there wasn't that what was I was trying to read through it quickly at work. They're
Okay,
building 4,
so-
one of them is on our
I'm
side.
looking for.
I will offer some comments for clarification. I'm not trying to present the application in any way, but the only part of this application or this site development plan that you're focused on is what is in this area right here, okay? Because this is what's in Bethel. Everything else that's to the north here is in Danbury. And that's why this property has a Danbury address, because that's where the driveway is, just over the line in Danbury.
Dave, help, is this a new building or is this a building that's there?
That's a
Some of it
good question.
exists.
That's a good question.
Okay, I know it's an existing building. They're building.
So the existing building is here, okay?
Wait,
The
I don't
the
see-
part. I'm
No
sorry.
cursor. Can't see
Oh.
your cursor.
Sorry.
The one concrete block, building number 15 is there.
Hang on.
Recognize it.
Okay, can you guys see my cursor now?
Yes,
Okay, so the existing building is here. Okay, so what they're looking to do is they would keep the existing building as it is, and then they would add 4 smaller buildings around it. Okay, only one of these is in Bethel. Okay, and that's the southernmost one here, proposed building 4. This is the only part of this application that you guys have purview to review, because the town line is right here.
Here's the buildings. Well,
Right. Where's the one that's supposed to be in this here,
right here, this is the town line,
right?
so the
then
buildings.
Danbury
are
reviews the rest.
But the parking is.
Oh, is that true?
Dave?
The building
Question?
actually isn't in Bethel, but the parking is?
Yes.
No, there is a building that would be in Bethel.
Oh, here,
Proposed
building.
building.
Okay.
Oh,
You don't
Okay.
put this building, correct?
So, and furthermore, this structure is not within the regulated open review area, okay? The only portion of the property that is what is due east, or west, excuse me, of the dash line here, of the 100-foot open review area line. So it's this area of the property that's your URA. Your wetlands are way down here. All right, so as
If that's
far
the case, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. If that's the case, because I see where the wetland review area is, I see the level of disturbance, I see where the building is in the Bethel property line. Does this technically fall under our jurisdiction? Or yes, it does, because
Parking lot is now 100-foot.
Yeah,
Right.
the parking lot extends back to it. The building may not, but the parking structures do. Got
right,
it.
so it's the associated improvements that are really your purview, being the driveway, the area of the property that would get regraded, and any stormwater that would, or any groundwater that would be altered as part of what is going on with the rest of the properties here.
So basically, we're here tonight to just familiarize ourselves with the big picture of what's happening. They're now presenting. We have to take a look at this and decide whether this is going to be site plan review or public.
Public hearing, that's right.
what's the use of the site? If
Light industrial is how the applicant categorized it.
Do we know the
That
name of the
sounds like
business that's
industrial.
currently occupying the existing building?
No, and to be honest with you, that's not really of consequence, because the existing building's in Danbury.
I wondered, because I'm trying to decide whether I think the public has a vested interest in the project, because that would,
Oh, I think it's definitely up for sale.
Yeah, I'm leaning towards that too for that exact reason.
Yeah, we wanna make sure.
Danielle, for
that's fine.
exactly what you're thinking.
just gathering information for us to consider. Okay,
I will say that this is also, that there's a concurrent review that's being held by Danbury's Environmental Impacts Commission. I can't recall which process Danbury's EIC opted to use to review this application, but it's not like the public at large would be at a loss to weigh in on this application, either from the Danbury side or from the Bethel side. But you're really just focusing, okay? Just to be clear, and this is also going to go before planning and zoning. Your focus is on what the regulated activities are, which in the grand scheme of things, compared to everything else that's going on these properties, it appears to be pretty small.
this tiny little triangle right here, actually, right?
Right. Well, that's the area for the driveway. You also have the grading, and you would also want to consider any changes to the groundwater hydrology for whatever that would be worth as part of the site development changes.
Well, that's in our purview, so we have to,
What map are you on there?
this is page.
yeah, but that's connected to
bottom
this.
right.
the-
SC what?
It's sheet C2.
Two?
Yes, but it's sheet C2.
Oh, these are all eights.
We're on the same page as you.
All right.
Yes, so
Oh,
this
that's what I'm looking
triangle
for.
right here, that one
Yep.
is what we're reviewing. I'm just showing you. This is Bethel over here, and this is
This is where I
the
would think we
100
should
foot.
put trees right here.
So
I'm serious.
that's the limit of,
Parking areas
that's
should
the
be
upward
shaded.
review.
It is.
They should plant in the islands.
It is.
All right. We got more to do tonight, gentlemen. So we are here to
Design good.
let me get a read for the room. Kevin, are you feeling like site plan review or public hearing?
Apologies, I was on mute. I'm leaning towards public hearing, but I can be swayed in the other direction, so I'm not hard sold on that direction,
Okay.
but I am leaning towards public hearing.
All right, Nico, what's your feeling?
Public hearing with the risk of.
Okay,
So
that's you, Pat.
I have a question about the public hearing. They're literally gonna input on a 20-foot triangle? Because everything on it, the building, we have no preview of that. They're literally gonna input on 20 feet, 20 foot triangle.
That is what we are.
Okay.
So are you feeling public hearing or?
Wait, I
think
thought
it's-
that there was that extension. Sorry, Pat, to interrupt you only because I'm looking at it. Does it also include that grading area to what I believe to be the south, or is it really just that little 20-foot area?
That's
I'm
a
understanding it
100
correctly. The 100-foot review area bisects the parking lot there. And if you look at where the 100-foot review area goes with the Danbury Bethel line, there's a tiny little triangle where that
This doesn't show the grade.
Here.
Site grade.
The grading
It's a
area
different
It's
map.
elevated.
right there.
Yeah, look.
Oh, yeah, they're cutting.
Can everybody
Yeah.
follow my, can everybody follow my cursor again?
Yeah.
All right, so
All right,
just,
yes.
just to be clear, the only portion of this entire project that is within Bethel is what is due south, that is on this side of this dashed line, okay?
Yep.
The only portion of this property that falls within the 100-foot upland review area is whatever is due west, okay, on this side of this dashed line, okay? So you're looking at a small portion of the proposed driveway / access way, and then whatever area that would be regraded here and a little section here that's associated with that. There aren't any stormwater management system components that are shown to be in this area. I mean, if you want to get an idea for where they are going to go, that's what this whole plan is here for. So the only other thing you could possibly consider that could be possibly changed in this area is what's going on with the groundwater. And in the grand scheme of things, I as staff, I would think those are going to be comparatively minimal. If this commission feels so strongly that a public hearing is appropriate, you have to make sure you iterate your reasons why. But otherwise, it would just be a site plan review.
No, I'm gonna go with site plan review. I was under the impression that a larger portion of that grading area on the south was impactful within our purview limits, but it is obviously not. I misread the cut through section of the wetland review.
No
area.
worries.
Site plan review from me. Thank you for outlining that, Dave.
No sweat.
Nico, do you still feel?
We can do the site plan review. It's good. It's here for this public hearing.
Site plan. All right. So I would also feel site plan would be appropriate. And then I would entertain a motion to accept the application. Do we even have a full application?
I'm
Dave, do we
sorry,
take this? Yeah, I'm sorry. We have a lot of novel stuff tonight that I haven't had to deal with before, so I'm looking to you for guidance frequently. Now, I do anyway, but now I'm making an excuse about it tonight. So, because I'm not a proud person. So do we have a full application? I know there was stuff in the draft.
Why don't we go through it just so that you guys can
Are we here tonight to vote on whether we accept this plan and how we accept it? Or are we going to push that to our next meeting because we don't have a full application?
So you have, let's see, you have a development report, which let's see, it includes a letter from a soil scientist. You have your inland wetlands application. You have the site plans that we went through. and you have a stormwater management system report. The only omission, if you want to call it that, would be, let's see here. Oh no, I'll take that back. You do have a topographic survey, so I would say this commission has everything as far as covering the initial requirements to accept an application.
Okay, and then I would recommend that myself and everyone else take a deep dive in reviewing all of that before we meet for our next meeting, so we can make sure that if there's additional materials that we want to request, to do that right away rather than pushing it further, since that's been an issue in the past.
Sound advice, Madam Chair.
Okay, so then I would entertain a motion to accept this application for, and I've lost my place, 15 Great Pasture Road under site plan review. I would entertain that.
I would like to make such motion.
Thank you, Kevin. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Terry seconds the motion. Any discussion?
Do we have to decide whether about significant impact?
Yeah, if you're gonna make that decision, or if you're gonna have that discussion, you should have that now.
So I'm looking for in my regulations to find to remind myself what that entails. Can you help me?
In order to consider it for a public hearing versus a site plan review?
Not necessarily, that's one of my questions, not necessarily for public hearing, but they will tell me wording, regulations that has to do with significant impact or
Okay. So
That
let-
would justify, there were reasons to justify the longer process for a public hearing, and you can't just do that.
Yeah, they're
If
looking
you
at
have a
their
reason
side
for
of
it. It needs to have significant impact, it needs to be significant public concern.
Oh, that's tied to public hearings, that's true, Viv?
Yep. But we have no.
Go ahead, Dave.
Right.
So the definition for significant impact in the Bethel Inland Wetlands Regulations reads from section 2.2, a quote, any activity including but not limited to the following activities which may have a major effect. One, any activity involving deposition or removal of material which will or may have a substantial effect on the wetland or watercourse or on wetlands or watercourses outside the area for which the activity is proposed. Two, any activity which substantially changes the natural channel or may inhibit the natural dynamics of the watercourse system. Three, any activity which substantially diminishes the natural capacity of an inland wetland or watercourse to support aquatic, plant, or animal life and habitats, prevent flooding, supply water, assimilate waste, facilitate drainage, provide recreation or open space, or perform other functions. Four, any activity which is likely to cause or has the potential to cause substantial turbidity, siltation, or sedimentation in the wetland or watercourse. Five, any activity which causes substantial diminution, I think I'm reading that right, of flow or of a natural watercourse or groundwater levels of the wetland or watercourse. Six, any activity which is likely to cause or has the potential to cause pollution of the wetland or watercourse. Seven, any activity which damages or destroys unique wetland or watercourse areas or such areas having demonstrable scientific or educational value. End quote.
So we can say that or find that this may have significant impact, but it doesn't, we can still accept this as a site plan.
Well,
Or does
yeah,
that trigger public hearing?
Yeah, if we want to accept it as a public hearing, the outline for potential justification for that would be found in 4.3.
that's exactly right.
But am I right in saying that if we accept it under this term of significant impact, that it triggers a series of other requirements for the application on the part of the applicant?
That is a good question.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's
Say
where you
what?
refer, that's where you would refer to Appendix D. Materials required if there is a significant impact, and it outlines the items that the commission could require as part of you guys rendering your decision.
Yeah, I want all this. Potential for significant impact.
Okay.
These
but-
things-
Well,
We would discuss
what
these
is-
in our next meeting, right, Dave? When the
I'm
applicant
sorry?
is here. Would we not discuss these things in our next meeting? Or does this need to be discussed now? The applicant isn't here to address these issues with us.
Right. They aren't. And furthermore, this is where going through the materials to verify if there is any indication of significant impact is worthwhile. Because if you are going to go down the route of basing or pumping a public hearing on a significant impact or a potential significant impact, you have to say why. You can't just, right.
So again, I would say, if we're all, and it sounded like we were all leaning towards having a site plan review.
Mhm.
And if that is the way this goes tonight after we vote, I again encourage everybody to carefully review the materials. Great note, Nico. We'll look at Appendix D. We'll look at the materials that they give us, because didn't they still have stuff outstanding that they were responding to? That they still needed to supply, Dave, and that's why they're not here tonight? Or am I thinking of
No,
a different information?
They are not there because they are not present tonight because this commission's only accepting the application. Okay, so
Okay.
so you guys aren't in the review phase yet. That would be at the next meeting.
Okay, and in that first meeting, then bring your concerns and we will ask them for additional materials, because that's when the clock starts tonight, I guess.
Yeah, that's the thing. So if we ran into problems with stuff like
Because
this,
we were much
we
later in the
realized later in the
process.
process that
Right.
this does have a potential for significant impact. We didn't ask early enough. We
Right.
didn't get the materials.
Well,
We were
we
not
did.
granted the materials that
Yes.
I needed to make the
Yes.
decision.
But we need to justify why we're asking for these things, so that means that between now and our next meeting,
Like,
we need to,
right now.
you've reviewed all of the stuff that they've already submitted to us and are looking at the lens that way.
You
You
want
have to justify all of these things that you're asking them for. Have you gone through all of the
No, it's
materials that they
just
supplied us
based,
in the drive?
just based on the requirements for what constitutes a significant impact. I would say under section 2.2, any activity involving deposition or removal of material which will and have cause substantial effect on open wetland or what.
Yeah, they're removing a lot. They're removing a lot.
Check
Yeah.
that, yes.
Okay.
Any activity which substantially changes natural, no. Any activity which substantially diminishes, number 3, any activity which
I
substantially
understand that,
diminishes
but which
natural
of these things do you
sport,
want?
plant or aquatic life based on potential pollution
Okay.
from.
I understand that's not what I'm asking you. You said you want all of these things in Appendix D, and
Right.
you need to justify which ones
Right.
you want and
The-
why, correct?
The qualifier for this, okay? The qualifier for this is any activity, including but not limited to the following activities which may have a major effect. Okay, and I'm adding that emphasis, but it's a major effect. Okay, so if you were looking at the site plans and it showed an extensive or a substantive amount of activity within a regulated 100-foot upland review area, that subjectively to you was going to pose an imminent adverse impact, to the regulated wetlands, then you could say, yeah, we may have some reasoning to use item 1 when it comes to significant impacts. As your staff, if you were to ask me if that condition really exists here, I would say no. And again, I'm basing that on, you should consider that because when you're comparing the amount of activity that is taking place on this property with respect to the development as a whole, most of the work is taking place in Danbury. Okay. And if this commission wants full transparency of whatever the applicant submits to Danbury as part of Danbury's EIC review, you have all rights to ask for that. Okay. And chances are, the applicant may be having to do to prep those items as part of their Danbury application, just because of the extent of the activity that's taking place there. So it's just a comparative and a perspective thing that I would advise you to be considerate of.
Dave, a couple of questions.
Yeah.
Danbury obviously is going to be reviewing this, and there's a lot to review. How do we get the information that Danbury is reviewing and know that they're reviewing it? You know, how do we understand what they're reviewing? Because what's to stop them from, not that Danbury would, but all of a sudden, you know, the Danbury side looks great, on the Bethel side, just put in this big whatever, who cares?
Yeah.
You know, how do we get that information to make sure they're not changing stuff on our side? You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
How
I totally understand that. And if there's some kind of mechanism where you wouldn't where you wouldn't be able to see what Danbury has reviewed, then I would let you know. But I don't think that's the case.
What's the mechanism to see? I don't know.
So what I think what would happen is if you guys want to request what the materials that has been submitted for Danbury, I would put that in writing as part of my review comments.
I would like that.
To the applicant. Say, hey, you know, the commission just wants to be doubly sure that you're being consistent with what's being presented amongst both boards. And if there's any supplemental documentation that you presented to Danbury that you didn't prepare as part of your Bethel application, they would just like to know what it is, just so they have it as a reference.
For example, on the Danbury side, I think it's 2 retention ponds. On the Bethel side, their catch basin is draining into the catch basin on Worcester Street. There is no retention pond. That's just looking quickly.
Yeah, but that whole side of the property going towards Worcester Street is outside of your 100-foot upland review area. So what would your
not the water flow? That water flow cannot come off the property. That has to stay on the property. One of the requirements for wetland permit is that there is no net gain or net decrease in water flow from the property. And that's
okay.
putting water off the property onto Worcester Street drainage.
Okay. So
again, that could be discussed I'm just using that example. That could be discussed at a later date with the applicant. Like, I'd like to know why that's not going into the Danbury detention pond. Why? Easy enough. But again, that's something. So let me ask you, am I allowed as a Bethel Inland Wetland agent to sit in the audience of a Danbury Inland Wetland review of this?
I would advise you not to.
Yeah.
Because you want to focus on information that you only gain during your application review process. Okay. Because conversely, right? If a Danbury EIC member had your question, they would be in the audience here tonight, but you don't see any of them, do you?
Okay.
They should.
That's why I asked.
They might come.
You're
They should come on. It would be wise of us to go attend those meetings on this property to make sure.
So,
that we get
if a joint session for both wetlands commissions is, if there's a prompt for that.
He's not
I'm
telling
sorry?
you, he's advising you that it can be a problem. He's not telling you.
I didn't mean to interrupt. Go and finish what you're saying.
Yeah, you just don't want there to be
The appearance of bias, correct?
well, it's not bias. It's conflict of
Just
interest.
So let me put it this way. If I abstain from this application and I attend the Danbury Inland Wetland meeting and I attend the Bethel Inland Wetland meeting, I'm allowed to enter any comments I wish as in the audience, correct?
Yeah, if you wanted to recuse yourself from this application so you could offer comment as a resident, if the chair entertains that, because this is a public, right now, you guys are entertaining this as a site plan review, an opportunity for public comment wouldn't be guaranteed. That's at the chair's discretion, right? So if you wanted to attend the meeting as a resident, you could, but then you're recusing yourself from the opportunity to review this as a wetlands commissioner. You have that right to make that choice.
Why? Just because we're informing ourselves?
No,
No.
It's about due process and making sure that the window for when you gain new information is limited to your wetland commission meetings. Okay, because then it would be considered, this may be an extreme, but it could be like ex parte communication where you're getting testimony and new information outside of the record.
I understand what he's saying, Nico. It's basically like if you read something in an article and you base your decision on that article without bringing it and discussing it to the commission first. So I understand. That's why I asked.
Formal
I would-
channels to get the
I want
information.
to,
Bring
just
it
want
to
to
the
make
meeting.
sure
I'll
it's on the
bring
same.
everything I learned in the Danbury meetings right to the meeting.
Well, he's gonna, the information from the Danbury meeting,
But
he's
it's
gonna
not.
bring.
Unless
It
it isn't, because we're not doing a public site.
Right.
We're not doing a public, well, unless we decide that we are. So we're not taking public comment unless we decide we are, and at the moment, we're not deciding.
It's not illegal for me as a commissioner in the town of Bethel to go to a meeting in a neighboring town
No one's
that
saying it's
discusses, that
illegal.
may or may not discuss the same property that we're discussing, to
No
get
one's telling you
information
it's
on it,
illegal.
and then I will bring that information here. There's nothing wrong.
I would disagree with that.
Gray area.
I would strongly disagree with that.
False. It's a very great, you know what, let's keep it, it's not a big enough thing.
Yeah,
You know,
it's not a black and white section. It's a very gray area. And no
Yeah.
matter what arguments, we could do our best course of action. And I'm going to lean on Dave's historic knowledge of how things have been done for many,
You have
many years
no
prior to me.
You can go and consult if you wish.
They should be here in this meeting.
They
You
can't
can
be that.
speak them out and you can talk to them and ask them your questions and bring it back to the
Duly
commission.
noted.
No.
Yeah,
But I'll
this
tell
is
you,
shy,
Nico,
scaremongering of.
I was
Right.
asked,
Here.
if I
Then
may.
I'd be like, all right, now we have.
I was
to-
at the
But for that-
presentation that was given to us by our legal counsel, and I think I was the
That's
only, you were there?
Yeah.
Well, do you not remember her discussing this and specifically saying that this is not okay to do?
In this specific scenario, no, she didn't mention this. I would like her to reiterate. If she-
Then I would
She did.
suggest that you, it's still Melanie O'Brien, is that correct?
Melanie O'Brien is the town's counsel. That's correct.
And who was the gentleman that made this specific legal presentation for us?
Okay.
Was he in the, when we sat here? Okay,
Yes.
great. Thank you.
Information is public information is public information.
But when you
It-
sit on a
it-
commission, you have an
right.
obligation.
But
to
no one is arguing.
Publicly
Just to be clear, no one is saying that information is or is not public. The distinction is how the information is used as part of you rendering your decision. When you are collecting testimony, your period for discovery is limited to what you observe on your site walks and what is presented during your wetland commission meetings.
and
That's
everything
it.
that's shared during our wetland
Dave,
meeting.
I'm gonna mute the whole discussion. You're gonna ask for the meeting notes and video from the Danbury Inland Wetland to be entered into our
Record.
record. So then we could view that and
Yeah.
use that information.
Yeah,
That-
if
That's
you
usually the whole
guys,
process.
if you
Yes.
guys want that as part of your
Yes.
record, then
Yes, that
I will track down the recordings from the Danbury EIC meeting and make them available to everybody. Okay,
Yes.
but the distinction for that is you're just watching those as bystanders. You know, you're not going to you can go and watch the recordings, but I would strongly discourage
But we
you.
can use the information in that recording to help guide us in our meeting,
On the
right?
public
Because it's
record.
Yeah,
entered in-
as long as everyone has the equal opportunity to do that, and as long as it's part of the record, then yes.
Your point, we're done. Good.
Sorry for yelling at you, Dave.
Okay,
Was that?
so that's the question on the table. Is there more discussion before we call, because we have a motion on the table?
What do we do?
Yes.
Kevin
Do.
motioned it, Terry seconded it.
Yep, so we have a motion to accept this as a
For site plan.
site plan review. I don't know why I can't hold this to the. It could be that
Been
it's almost
seconded?
9. It has been seconded. We are in the discussion
Yeah.
phase. Is there more discussion?
I seconded it. Or Terry did.
No, yeah.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
doesn't
keep going,
matter.
keep going.
Is there more discussion?
No
We have
discussion.
a long agenda in front of us. No? All right, hearing none, I will call a vote. Kevin,
Aye.
Nico.
Aye.
Pat.
Aye.
Terry. Danielle, aye. Motion carries.
Awesome.
Oh, with the, do we need to add the amendment? We need to amend the motion to include that we would like that information included in the public record.
We said,
Uh,
do that?
I don't know if it needs to be a part of the motion.
I don't know if it needs to be part, I mean, I wrote it down. I'll put it in a minute.
Okay, Dave, do you feel like that needs to be a part of the, motion? Okay, fine, thank you. A minute.
Yeah, I'll put it in the minutes.
Thank you. All right. Okay. Moving on, we now have staff report,
Meeting minutes.
meeting minutes. All right.
Make a
Meeting
motion
minutes
that
from
we accept
6:16.
the meeting minutes from June 16, 2025
As
as
written.
written.
Do I hear a second? Very seconded. Any discussion?
Hold on. Did she second it? Is she here?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, beautiful. So I make sure everything moves.
She was. Yes, she was. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call a vote. Kevin?
Aye.
You're muted? Aye?
Yeah, I know.
I'm not muted. Aye.
It's, there's a delay. Okay. Aye?
Oh, okay.
Nico, aye. Pat?
Aye.
Carrie? Aye. Danielle, aye. Motion carries. Okay, staff report.
Okay, this looks lengthy, but it really isn't. I'll be brief anyway. Thank you guys for amending the agenda to add 4 Buckboard Ridge. Pretty straightforward. Guy wanted to cut a couple of snags and some other trees that he felt was endangering his house at the edge of his backyard, which so happens to coincide with a regulated upland review area. I got a wetlands report and a rough sketch of where the trees were going to get cut. Told them, you're not putting anything towards the wetlands. You leave that area alone. And I would recommend you cart the trees off site. I seem amenable to doing that. And if you guys have any questions, happy to answer them. Okay. 7 Rockwell Road. The case that is still in Danbury Superior Court. I apologize to you guys. In all the time between now and when Attorney Andrus had his status conference back in July, I have not touched base with him on what the outcome of that status conference was. I do intend to do that very soon when I'm actually fully caught up with everything else that we've had going on. Amanda can
You've been so
justify.
busy with Dave.
We've been very busy. So I apologize. I'll have a report on that at the next meeting. Everything else that you see here, apart from Benedict Road, which I am in the process of working on an administrative agent approval with the property owner, they're just aquatic pesticide reports that you guys get CC'd from the state.
Pleasant Street?
Pleasant Street. Still waiting on some revised items from the applicant for their application. I'm hopeful they'll come through with those soon, but they know they have to do that. As for the aquatic pesticide items, Nico had asked if there was any way to get a description for what an aquatic pesticide permit entails, from the chemicals that are used and so on and so forth. I believe if you go into the staff report, I attached a older version of, or a past application that had been presented to you guys. This form has pretty much stayed the same since the time that this came out. But if you're so interested in what's getting used, I would refer you to this page. Whoever applies for an aquatic pesticide permit, they're required to list the products or the chemicals that they're using, and the concentrations thereof, the amounts that they're going to use for each treatment, and how many treatments that they would be applying as part of the permit. The procedure, as I understand it, is when a property is going forward through that process the first time, that's when you get that FYI form that looks like that. If it's a repeat treatment, we just get normally a little email, like a snippet from the Pond and Lake Connection or whoever it is that's doing the treatment, and it essentially says, "Hey, I'm following, the application that I applied for previously with the state, and I'm going to do my treatments on or around the state." That's what you guys see on the agenda itself here. Pretty self-explanatory. Not really much you guys need to do in the way of reviewing this. The other two things that I would follow up with you guys on, those are under commission comments. I guess I'll wait until that section then. But happy to answer any questions that you guys may have.
Any questions for Dave on the staff report?
Yeah, Mike, Kevin. Yeah, thanks for looking into that. The reason I am concerned is just, so do we have these to look at that show what the chemicals are going in and the quantities?
Yeah. So when you have a novel application, may not be the right word, but when you have a property that's applying for an application for aquicides or pesticides for the first time, that's normally when you get the detailed form that looks like this. For every subsequent reapplication that occurs on a property, we just get an FYI from the Pond and Lake Connection or sometimes the state. If you guys want the full documentation for what that looks like, I'd be happy to request that from the DEEP. But there's nothing in the way of input that you guys really have on that. It's just more of an FYI. This is what the state approved, a licensed, someone that has the authority to apply pesticides for what they can do on a property.
So can they change the amounts and the chemicals used?
No. Once an application is made to DEEP, they have to stick with what they're approved for.
Yes, okay, I was at Bennett, I'm walking Bennett Park pretty all the time, and the guy was there with, and they're like donut-shaped thing with a hole in it. So it's stabilized, it's what they use every single time, and what they do is they spread them, they throw them basically into the woods and where those stagnant waters are, and that keeps it down. And then the mosquito guy, lack of a better term, comes and tests, I don't know, once a month, once every 2 weeks, to make sure that there's some mosquitoes there that are infected with not. So whatever they're doing seems to be working.
Well, so let me offer some clarification on that, Terry. This doesn't have anything to do with mosquitoes. It's for plants. So like water chestnut or any other aquatic invasive species, that's what these pesticide permits are for. They're not for mosquitoes.
So they're herbicides?
Plants. Okay.
Should they be listed as herbicides then? Or they call them aquatic pesticides?
Yeah.
But I had the same question. I was wondering if it was for mosquitoes
Yeah,
or what.
well,
Plants, I didn't know.
Particular person that I talked to, those were mosquitoes,
Yeah.
but
So that's.
Oh,
another-
okay. No, then I'm sorry. I'm getting my terms screwed up. I mistook herbicide for pesticide. So Terry, you are correct. Yeah. That's what they're doing. That's part of what they could be doing is treating for mosquitoes. And you're exactly right with that description.
So they aren't treating with herbicides to control algae or other.
That's not what these are.
This
This is all mosquito stuff.
Not for this not for the form that I showed you. No. and not
Gotcha.
for,
Okay.
10.
Thanks for the clarification.
Yeah, and the reason I bring it up at all that I asked is because I count 10. It's standing out, to us that we have 10 of these things on our docket tonight.
Well,
of these
the reason why there's so many is because we missed a meeting.
Okay, fine.
So if we didn't miss the meeting, and I put them on.
And the
So
dates
I-
are on there.
Yeah, so I get them in the email. And then, so if we didn't miss the meeting last month, you wouldn't have as many.
We usually have a handful during the
Yeah.
year, but this is the
But
season when it gets wet.
it's a lot. And it's all this summer.
I was gonna say, this is the season for all of that.
It's all between late June and early August.
June and end of August.
What I'm wondering is, at these addresses, I haven't done the research, is like what water bodies it's going into. Are they all going into like the same river? I'm just, I'm voicing the concern about the health of the waterways, basically. And if this stuff adds up, if everybody on every single property puts one of those donut things.
Well, it's not, but it's not everyone on every property. This particular thing is because where McCower is and Bennett and the stream that runs through there, that is to keep that section down. And it probably does carry it with the water, but it just protects.
Yeah, but there's 10 more applications, not an application in addition to that, but it's the Bennett Tower one.
So Dave, does Deep
And I'm-
keep records on all of the different waterways and the concentrations and applications and how they all connect?
For 2 of them.
oh yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's the whole point of these applications getting submitted in the first place, so that they can keep track of what is occurring and where.
So this is really under Deep's purview, and we are just being notified that Deep is managing this and this is what is happening. Yeah.
That's exactly right.
Doesn't mean we can't worry about it too, guys, because maybe Deep's thresholds for pollution are higher than ours.
Perhaps.
And it's a few of these are the same site, so 77 Polyfill is on there twice. 10 Copper Square Drive is on there twice. Out Beth in the Bed, Carroll Park is on there twice. So they're doing the same applications in the same spots.
They may need multiple applications. I'm not
For
familiar
some,
with.
yeah, fair enough. Water quality deal.
So what would you like to do with that information?
I don't have enough information to know. You have to test the water. And see what's going on.
Or you could reach out to Deep, you could ask them your questions and see what they have to say.
I was gonna say, if you're curious about that and you do want to investigate it further, which is a noble cause, by all means, if you have the time and effort to do such, it would definitely be something that you could request of Deep. I'm not sure if they can release it, but I don't see why they couldn't.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy for us.
It is a public record item. So I work with.
It's easy for us to just click done. I foresee this stuff causing lawsuits later. These chemicals that were being fed from the chemical companies, and Roundup and everything else. And
Yeah, well, you're thinking, the
But
short
it's
benefit is not going to outweigh the long-term goals.
It's going to come back. People are going to sue for damages to their health, and I'd rather us be on the right side of it. But as opposed to on the.
Remember, we if we voice our opinions,
Ignorance, like we never
we voice as an individual. Because we don't regulate that.
We
Because
never
no
had
one
this
is telling you not to do these things.
I'm just
You've been
thinking-
very agitated tonight, and if you want to
No,
know,
I'm not
reach out to Deep, and if you want to report back to us with what you find, I'm sure we would welcome information.
I'm not agitated. I'm just not reserving my comments as much as I have in the past because
Okay, you don't have to reserve your comments.
it's important stuff.
Okay,
I'm not agitated.
okay. Any other comments? Okay, then we are at public comments. Any comments from the public? Is anyone online?
Don't forget commission comments, Madam Chair.
I won't, but those come after public comments. On the agenda. To be with.
Yeah, that's on it. That's how the chapter reads, David.
So maybe you presented the agenda incorrectly, but I'm following it to the letter.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, my mistake.
Hearing none, we can then proceed to commission comments. So commission comments. Dave, I believe that would be you, Commissioner Training Incentives, yes?
The first selectman had an informal discussion with me for what could be considered reasonable incentives to make sure you guys are doing your inland wetlands commissioners training. I'm not really going to try to approve what that would look like without him being part of the discussion, but just so you know, that's on his radar. And if you guys have any idea on what those incentives would look like, let me know and I'll share those with him so that we can discuss them at the next meeting.
Thank you. And then we had some interest in discussing, go ahead, Nico. That was a conversation that you were having with Pat. Some interest in discussing something very specific in terms of regulations that you wanted to table for the next meeting so that you would have time to prepare. Would you mind just putting that on the record for us?
Sure. Something that I think we need to review specifically for, among other things, probably for regulations. It just has to do with clear cutting of sites that have upland review within the upland review area, along water courses, rivers, and taking away repairing buffer zone. That can lead to erosion and loss of habitat and filtration of water into the water courses, and can, using the shade canopy of mature forest and tree cover, can lead to heating effects on a cold water streaming habitat for certain fish that need that. So it's just something that I think would be interesting and good just to put on the radar to find out what other towns are doing with regard to specifically clear cuts and for building and replacing the trees in kind that are from the sites. Specific information.
Okay, great, thanks. Yeah. Are there any other commission comments from our other commissioners?
No, I'd be curious to follow up on that with you two, though, to see what authorities
Yeah.
we may or may not have to make requests for replacement of, or not necessarily replacement, but maintaining of what already exists. Like, but I think that I would need to do some more research into the standards as they already exist before kind of approaching that.
And I'll just remind everybody that Dave did a very deep dive on gathering all of those resources for us, presenting them to us, all those links to the various different things. So we have that to review.
That's incentive enough for me to review it. Should we tell Dan, what can he get by us? Can he get us ice cream or what? Tell him I want him to plant trees in front of the municipal center and not take any more downtown property.
All right, any other committees? Go ahead, Dave.
If you guys want to invite him to your next meeting to discuss this, I think that would be a good idea.
Okay, always welcome. Love it.
Any other commission comments tonight? And hearing none, I would entertain a motion to adjourn us this evening.
I will make a motion to adjourn us.
Thank you at 9:03 p.m.
At 9:03.
Thank you. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Nico, second discussion. Hearing none, I will call a vote. Kevin.
Aye.
Nico.
Yes,
Pat.
I.
Terry. Hi. Danielle says aye. Motion carries. We are adjourned at 9:03 p.m.